Thank you all, and I get the slot, which is, I'm not going to touch that, but between you and lunch, so I'll try and rattle through this as quickly as possible. So I'm Scott Johnson. I'm the Chief Executive of the Scottish Life Sciences Association, and I'm here to talk about the HIP, which is a Health Innovation Partnership, and that's basically a partnership between the Scottish Life Sciences Association and the NHS, and it comes in the form of a contract with government. We don't get paid anything to do it, but it allows us to do the industry advisory piece of the partnership. So that kind of covers what is my topic, but I wanted to give you all a bit of a run through of the Scottish Life Sciences Association, because it's a resource. Industry is a big resource for the NHS, and I think since setting this up in 2011 and starting the Health Innovation Partnership shortly thereafter, we've just seen the benefit of working between ourselves and with the NHS in helping to come to some of the solutions, but also for us all to understand a bit more of the pressures on each other from industry and from the NHS. So we want to be an advocate for the sustained growth of life sciences. The policy cover is actually the statement of intent for health and wealth. So it was signed off. Nicola Sturgeon was the health minister at the time, and it was basically on the premise that if we have a wealthier economy, we actually have a healthier economy. So helping or using the NHS to help grow industry around Scotland means that it's going to have a positive impact on the health of the Scottish population. And bearing in mind there's about 37,000 people work in the Scottish life sciences industry, that's quite a big impact, and we're looking to grow that over the coming years. So we just want a positive economic environment of which we can work with other parts of industry and also with the NHS. So I think we've seen that happen. We have engagement with the government and with the NHS, but I wanted to give you a little bit of a background on the engagement that you have with each other and how we help each other through our special interest groups. But I think it might just change that to special advisory groups, because that's quite a better thing. So we have about 130 members, but 37,000 people work in life sciences. They're not all members, but we're also increasing that. Importantly, 12 of those members are investor members. So you're kind of as constraints with budget, you're limited to the 13 billion a year that you have, and it's bigger pressure on that. We kind of don't have that pressure. We can go and we can raise money internationally. So those 12 investor members range from small business angels that can help small startup companies to grow, but they also go into some major US funds which have about 1.9 billion. A lot of our members, I'll come on to later, have raised a lot of money to develop one product, which is quite eye-watering. We run the SLA ourselves, we fund it ourselves, and we have the contract with the Scottish Government for the Health Innovation Partnership. So I've kind of in no real order, we have 18 special interest groups and subgroups, and the regulation and quality is one of our key ones, and that's where we kind of talk the same language that we're hearing this morning, and it's great to be engaged with IREC, and it's better for us to be engaged with IREC while we're developing products than to get a phone call to say, you know what, did you think about this when you were designing it? And we have that relationship with the NHS, which is great. We have a notified body subgroup. It's something that we're all very much engaged in with the MHRA to say that, you know, we probably need more notified bodies, or we need more capacity within notified bodies. As you see the regulations going up, especially in software, then you can very much sympathise with that. We have Qualified persons, so this is more on the medicine side, but again with Brexit this is quite a big issue because it looks like that we may have to start double testing our medicines as they go across the border. Business development is just something that we do. It's you might kind of see that as sales, but it's just helping each other to get to customers and use customers we've already got to inform us on product development. The US is our biggest market, so we have a couple of agreements, one with the state of Kentucky and one with Indiana. I'm off to Indiana at the weekend, and we're going to go around companies there just to see how we can work together to develop products that are not only of use in Scotland and the UK, but to the US. Now, those are quite small states, you would think, but the Indiana itself, the size of the market there for life sciences products is about the same as the UK, so it's pretty big. So we're delighted to have that. We have a directors forum, which is really about directors of companies getting together. Obviously, as directors of companies, we're liable for any kind of incidents that happen, and we can end up in prison, so we really want to speak to each other and find out how that can be avoided. We have an HR group. We work very closely with universities. The universities in Scotland are all members, but that's not really on the sort of product innovation side, that's on graduate employability. So we are all really interested in the curriculum to make sure that students are coming out, and graduates are coming out, and they have these kind of skills that can blend in. So not so much on the research side, but more on the quality side, that they understand things like ISO 13485 and the importance of quality to products. Innovation, we've got a subgroup looking at intercompany innovation. How can we work together to produce products that are more relevant, especially for the NHS. Finance, again, this is where we have our 12 investor members, and if we look at some recent fundraising, one of our companies, 20 people over in Edinburgh, they work a virtual company, but they floated on NASDAQ with a valuation of about $800 million. They've raised about $150 million to basically develop one product in the cancer field. But that's the kind of resource that you can bring in, and that's what we're doing quite a bit. Another one, Quotient, actually spun out of the NHS many years ago. It was from the Blood Transfusion Agency. They're developing I don't know if you know, but Scotland produces about 65% of the world's blood typing antibodies. It's done over in Edinburgh. We're quite good at it. Quotient, put these into products. And again, they've raised from the US about $300 million to develop an automated system for blood typing. So that's the kind of money we can bring in. So when the NHS has got problems, when you engage with industry, there's a potential to say, well, we can actually not just help solve the problem, but we can actually bring some cash in to make sure that everything's covered. All the safety issues, all the quality issues are covered. Digital health, that completely feared me up with all the software talk, and yes, the whole, I've got an app, I'm just going to sell it to the NHS, it'll be no problem. We've been kind of sitting in that space for several years now. We understand it. A lot of our software companies are coming up to speed on that, but when it comes to in vitro diagnostics, when it comes to medical devices, we all understand the importance of ISO 13485, the directives. But when it comes to software, there's still a kind of mentality of, well, it's not going to harm anybody. So we're on that one. The diagnosis medical devices, that's really where the Health Innovation Partnership comes in that medtech space, to make sure that we're working with the NHS and not just our issues, but in the NHS issues. Medicines, I've not talked much about that, but it is what it is, but it's probably one of our larger groups for investment, and it's something that we're very good at in Scotland, is developing medicines. So whilst you don't have many big successes in developing blockbuster drugs, 50% of all medicines that are on the market today have in some way touched Scotland. So that whole medical piece is quite amazing, and that's not just penicillin. Cell therapy is another, or cell and gene therapy now is another area that we're very interested in, and this is more about not just treating diseases, this is about curing diseases. Manufacturing and automation, so we had our manufacturing automation group yesterday, and it's led by LifeScan up in Inverness, Johnson & Johnson. We were talking about blood glucose monitoring earlier, or Chris was. It's one of the largest employers in Scotland. Some of you may know it, but in terms of their output, last quarter was the biggest ever manufacturing output, and they manufactured 1.5 billion glucose test strips in Inverness. So we have all this kind of resource going on and all this development and automation, and it's just about bringing that into the NHS and saying, how can we help you with your issues? Precision medicine, it's one of the newer fields, but you know, it's where diagnostics can come in and make sure that that realistic medicine and that the right medicine's being delivered to patients. And Wisdoms are basically our mentoring group, and again, where we get together and we mentor each other, and we have individuals being mentored by each other. So that's, I'm just kind of running to the end here. So the Health Innovation Partnership, I think the contract's up for renewal, fingers crossed we'll get that again. I'm not sure who else will be able to do it. We have frequent policy engagement with the government, we have engagement with the MHRA. We sit on 5 of the MHRA consultative committees, and happy to sit on some more. I think if there's one coming in software, I'm happy to be on that one too. And we also deal with some of the bigger issues such as Brexit, which is going to affect us all, and with the notified bodies. So that's me. I'll be around for lunch, and just ask any questions. Thank you.